Hello, my name is Talan Godfrey, and I'm a real gang stalking victim. I've been a real gang stalking victim for the last 15 years. I have been gang stalked in California. I've been gang stalked in Illinois, been gang stalked in New York City, been gang stalked all over the South. Like I said, I live in California. I currently live in Los Angeles. I have been gang stalked in this city for close to a decade now. And I protest gang stalking, direct energy weapons, and mind control technology, along with some other stuff, at the Santa Monica Pier, Santa Monica, California, almost every single weekend. I've been doing it for almost 2 years since I got kicked out of Santa Monica College. So here it is. We'll just see if we can just find that video real quick if you think I'm lying. This is my name. Hold on. This is my name. Let's see if we can find a video of me being kicked out of Santa Monica College. See, unlike a lot of fake gang stalking victims on YouTube, I can actually prove that I'm a gang stalking victim. I have the receipts. Let's see if I can find a video of me being kicked out of Santa Monica College because I'm a gang stalking victim. Here it is right here. This is me right here. That is the video. Here it is. That's me. Right.
Continuing to go and talk to different members of the campus community saying that this is going on needs to stop. It can't happen anymore.
Okay.
There are 2 offices that you can go to.
You see, I'm a real gang stalking victim. That's when I got kicked out of Santa Monica College. So the problem that I have with your video, let's see if we can find it. Okay, there it is. Your video, you flip-flop. First, it seemed like you talking about the PSYOP, the psychological operations. Somebody, if you bringing up, you hearing voices, and you bringing up the technology of voice-to-skull technology to a gang stalker perp psychiatrist or psychologist. This gang stalking perp psychiatrist or psychologist will ignore all this technology about microwave hearing and then falsely accuse you of being schizophrenic. And that's why you said do not talk about voice to skull technology. That's bullshit. That is complete bullshit. That's utter bullshit. Yes, you should talk about voice to skull technology. Do you know what year it is? Let's see what year it is. Here it is. Here's the year. Here's the year, bruh. Right here. That's the year. They ain't gonna falsely accuse you of schizophrenia if you know about these technologies and you can prove that this stuff is real. That you hearing voices? What the heck are you talking about, son? Okay, let's see what you're gonna say. Let's bring up your flip-flopping in your video about the voice to skull technology. Let's see the time. There it is. Let's bring it up.
Put out there. They want this absurdity about V2K. They want you to talk like someone who they can slander and say is schizophrenic, and say that you believe that the government is beaming voices into your head.
They have the ability to do that.
It's just absurd, and that's why they want people to talk about that. And that's why they hire all these.
It's not absurd if you have William Shatner bringing up Nick Begich on his show. Let's bring up the video. William Shatner. Mind control, blah, 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 blah. Come on. Well, we're not mind control. Let's see if we can find the video. This is Nick Begich.
Brain rhythms change.
And this is the video. I'm not going to play too much. If you want it, it's right there. Here's the link right there. Nick Begich is talking about these voices bouncing off the ionic sphere, creating microwaves that can mess with your visual and your audio cortex. If you want to, the video is right there. So if you go into the psychiatrist or the psychologist's office talking about V2K, they can't call you a schizophrenic if you had no history of having schizophrenic tendencies before a certain age. Believe me, it will show up before a certain age, and even Dr. John Hall talked about it. Let's see if we can bring up the video. Actually, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. Here it is. This is your dumb video. Here it is. Your dumb video. Let's continue to watch.
Phony frauds to flood the social media sites with this nonsense. Now, having said all of that, I do believe that some of the stuff about the microwave weapons is legitimate. I do believe...
But when you watch the rest of your video, you don't believe voice to skull is real. Voice to skull technology is real.
They are utilizing those. And I think there's fairly good proof that they are using those. I discussed this in another video as well. So there is some validity to it. And that's what makes it kind of tricky, is there's validity to that aspect of it. But those things are not... I mean, those things are certainly harmful to people's health, and... but they're not something that someone can say can be tied in with schizophrenia, right? And they're not something where people are saying, okay, I'm hearing all these voices in my head and things like that. The microwave weapons, I think, but again, I think there's pretty solid evidence if you research those, that those not only exist, but are being used in these operations. So yeah, again, just some thoughts on that. And
okay, so let's start with your flip-flopping. Okay, let's go back to 39 seconds. 39 seconds. Let's go start right here. Let's start with 32. Okay, here it is.
And they try to tie it in with this whole thing, and the whole thing with V2K is supposed to be this thing where somehow, you know, these agencies, intelligence agencies and whatnot, are responsible for this technology that can somehow beam voices into people's heads and have them hear these voices. And these things that they describe are almost identical to things that would be associated with symptoms of schizophrenia, which is very, very convenient.
Okay, so you want to read the rest of it? That's fine. But if you arm yourself with knowledge of voice-to-skull technologies, because if you're being hit with the stuff and making you hear stuff that's not there and you're not obviously schizophrenic, then what's wrong with knowing about these technologies and talking about it? Here, let's talk about the stuff that you don't want to talk about.
It sounded like there was a voice actually in my head. It was, can't really explain
What?
it. It was awesome.
Yeah, how do they do it? It kind of freaked me out a little bit. I felt like someone was inside my head. Can I go on it again?
Literally. We used a new sound device called the Audio Spotlight. Unlike a regular speaker, the Audio Spotlight emits a narrow, high-frequency beam of sound. Because its audio is focused, it's heard by you and you alone, like that voice in your head. We positioned this device over a floor sticker in store, and when shoppers stood on it, they heard their own private message. No one else heard a thing. Here's how it worked.
Hi. You can hear me, can't you? You're the only one.
Now, how can you, armed with the knowledge of this video existing, these people, these fake game stalking perps, psychiatrists and psychologists gonna falsely accuse you of schizophrenic if you have this video? I'm just trying to ask you that. So it's perfectly okay to talk about voice to skull technology and the other microwave hearing devices. It's perfectly okay. And you should talk to these psychiatrists and psychologists about these types of technologies so they won't falsely accuse people, or they will think twice about falsely accusing people of being schizophrenic when they have no history of it.
Look around. No one else can. See? Know who I am? I'm that inner voice. I want to talk to you about something.
Okay? I'm going to shut off the camera and restart. Third or fourth time in your video about these people that will falsely accuse you of schizophrenic. But this is the thing that I have a problem with one of the many things that I have a problem with in your video. So you're talking about Twitter and YouTube. You don't actually point out who these people are in your video. Talking about these psyops. You talk about V2K, then you're crazy. I wonder what the hell are you talking about? Let's see if we can play it one more time. Let's see if we can find it. What the fuck? I'm getting sick and tired of these people can't keep track of their elderly parents. Okay. Hopefully I did not break that.
People, that's something that you can show and prove. V2K is not something that you can show and prove at all. And if you do talk about it, even if you're like a real targeted person who has been deceived into thinking that this is real, and they start talking about it and trying to spread the word about this psyop, what will happen is this. They will have...
See, that's what I don't understand. Why did you want people to talk about voice-to-skull technology? You just clearly stated you don't want people talking about voice-to-skull technology. You should talk about voice-to-skull technology. Not everybody on Twitter and on YouTube is a psyop. Not everyone. Well, let's find out another video that proved that gang stalking, voice-to-skull technology is real. Here it is. This video came out a couple of days after yours. But here it is. This is Mark Dice. This is fair use.
To the PSYOP toolbox. A lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army at the time named Michael Aquino, an admitted Satanist, by the way, and founder of the Temple of Set, an offshoot of the Church of Satan, wrote a report for the Department of Defense in 1980 titled From PSYOP to Mind War that proposed using psychotronic weapons against the general public in order to alter people's brainwaves, thus altering their mood to coincide with government propaganda that was being broadcast. Aquino wrote, quote, infrasound vibration up to 20 hertz can subliminally influence brain activity to align itself to delta, theta, alpha, or beta wave patterns, inclining an audience towards everything from alertness to passivity. Infrasound could be used tactfully as ELF waves endure for great distances, and it could be used in conjunction with media broadcasts as well, end quote. So basically, Lieutenant Colonel Aquino proposed zapping populations with invisible radio waves in order to make them anxious or lethargic, depending on how the government wanted them to feel at the time.
Why you don't want people talking about this? If there's a proven track record of this being real, they have the military documents, they have the United States patent numbers. Why you don't want people talking about this?
And use this weapon, as he said, in conjunction with media broadcasts. This gives a whole new meaning to the term wearing a tinfoil hat. It's certainly reasonable to believe, with a long history of illegal, inhumane, and bizarre government experiments known to have been carried out in the past. Then you should know, in 2016, numerous U.S. and Canadian embassy staff members in Havana, Cuba, reported experiencing strange ringing in their ears and cognitive disruptions, which opened up a gigantic can of worms. Not long after this, U.S. intelligence and military personnel reported the same symptoms, released a report in December of 2020 saying that microwave energy, specifically directed pulsed radio frequency energy, appears to be the most plausible explanation. Then just 1 month later, the CIA released a report claiming that most of the cases of Havana syndrome were not the result of a campaign by a hostile power, and suggested that it was just stress or psychosomatic reactions. Obviously, they just don't want the general public to freak out by admitting that psychotronic weapons exist.
Okay, and that's kind of like what you said, don't talk about this stuff. If people are knowledgeable about these types of weapons, whatever psyops, if these gang stalking perps trying to put on the real gang stalking victims, if the real gang stalking victims know about this, the psyop won't work. Yes, you should talk about voice-to-skull technology and other forms of microwave hearing.
February of this year, 2022, reports surfaced that numerous White House staff had experienced Havana syndrome on the White House grounds and believed that they were being targeted with a directed energy weapon. 60 Minutes did a segment about it and interviewed some of the targets, which include Olivia apartments. If you look up psychotronic weapons or electronic harassment on Wikipedia, the article says that it's just a conspiracy theory that government agents make use of electromagnetic...
Hold on, what did I say? Gang stalking. That's just gang stalking targeted individuals.
...radiation to harass people or transmit sounds into their heads. But for decades now, the United States government has been in possession of a device that can literally make people hear voices that seem as if they're coming from within their own head. In 2002, a patent was issued to the United States government for a device designed to, quote, induce a thermoacoustic signal in the bone tissue material of the head that replicates the input audio signal and is conducted by the bone tissue structure of the head and it appears to originate from within your own head. Another patent filed by the United States government a decade earlier in 1988 details plans for what is called a microwave voice device, which also beams voices into people's heads. The abstract for this patent reads, quote, "Sound is in to detail how this is done in a bunch of fancy scientific terms." In 2007, the Washington Post ran an article titled Mind Games, which investigated claims of individuals who believed the government was using such devices on them. The beginning of the article makes it seem as if the people are crazy, but then further into the article, it actually outlined some of the technology and the research that the government has been involved in that is able to accomplish such a thing. It points out that in 2002, the Air Force Research Laboratory patented precisely such technology, using microwaves to send words into someone's head. Now, would do if all of a sudden they started hearing voices in their head, just like they did with MK Ultra mind control experiments in the 1950s and 60s when the CIA dosed people with LSD and then monitored them to see what happened. And surely, like the test subjects of MK Ultra, most of the test subjects of psychotronic weapons keep such things to themselves and didn't even tell their closest friends or loved ones out of fear that they would be seen as completely insane for hearing voices. Back in 2007, the A&E channel set up a billboard in New York using what's called an acoustic laser or an audio spotlight, which uses this same technology and projected voices in people's heads when they walk down the sidewalk in front of the
But yet you don't want people to talk about it.
Billboard. The beam was narrow so that you could be walking with someone and one person would hear it, but the other person standing right next to them couldn't.
It's not your imagination. What's that? Who's there?
The show was called Paranormal State, and the acoustic
Okay, so this is attenuation.
this technology has a high potential for being abused. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, one of the alleged masterminds behind the September 11th terrorist attacks, was said to claim that Allah, the God of Islam, had visited him in his prison cell one night and told him to cooperate with his captors and that things would be much easier on him and his fellow detainees. If this report is accurate, if he really did believe that God visited him in his cell one night and told him this, then it certainly wouldn't be far-fetched to think that the microwave auditory effect may have been used on him to make him think that he was hearing God. This, of course, is just as leaders or political activists could be targeted by such a device and have an experience that God was talking to them. The possibilities are extremely disturbing to think about and bring to mind Project Bluebeam and certain Bible prophecies about the New World Order and the Antichrist, but that's a topic for a whole other.
Okay, so let's go back to your video. Like I said, this was Mark Dice. We shut it down.
One of their quote-unquote experts talk to you about this. They'll send you to see one of their quote-unquote experts.
Okay, here you are talking about the experts again. So, but like I said, none of that will work. If you knew about voice-to-skull technology, you talked about voice-to-skull technology, you have the United States patent numbers of voice-to-skull technology or microwave hearing. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. So let's go to 532. Let's go to 532. Let's go start here. Now here it is.
And this is a clear psyop. And now think of the contrast here. So even if you're somebody who's been deceived into believing this is real, you go around talking about this stuff, how the government is beaming voices into your head. Again, like I said, what they can do is just say, okay, well, if that's the case, then let's, bring this before one of our experts and they can determine whether it's real or not. The expert will then slander you, say you have schizophrenia, say you need to be put on medication. Now, conversely, if you just bring forward real information and credible, provable information showing how the police, the fire department, first responders are following you and stalking you everywhere you go, that is concrete evidence that...
Okay. First of all, it's not. How do you know, like I'm going to ask you, like I asked you before, how do you know if it's EMS is stalking you? EMS service, how do you know it's EMS stalking you? To real, because here's the video. Let's bring it up. Let's bring up this video called Scene at 11. Seen at 11. Revenge for hire. Revenge for hire. Revenge for hire. Let's bring it up. There it is. Let's bring it up. CBS News, New York.
Valentine's Day is typically associated with the sale of roses, chocolate.
This is fair use.
Whether you feel you've been unfairly dumped
Or you
request of his client his face because of the dozens of lives he says he's ruined at the request of his clients.
The ex-wife who's upset about, her husband leaving, or you're going to get the business partner who has been, completely screwed over and forced out of his company.
The company's specialty is revenge for hire, and it's not the only one.
It is our public duty to expose these people.
It's a burgeoning new industry, hiring someone to right your wrongs. Whether you feel you've been unfairly dumped, canned, or disrespected. And they do it in a variety of ways, from bombarding.
Watch this, because this is not the police that's doing it. This is gang stalking. This is gang stalking right here. And CBS News, New York covered it. This is gang stalking. And it's not the police. It's these private dumbass
Your
investigators.
offender with unrelenting, menacing texts or phone calls to putting an ad in the paper about their alleged indiscretions, or much, much worse. Nefarious Jobs offers 9 packages aimed, the company advertises, at making the lives of your enemies hell. For $3,000, the eviscerator focuses on ruining one facet of the person's life, like her marriage. And then there's total annihilation, which for $10,000 does exactly as the name suggests.
Well, when people feel like they're getting harmed.
Okay. Now, there's a man named Dr. John Hall. He talks about how there are private investigators who offer this as a job to go after people and ruin their life. Here's another video, and I'll play Dr. John Hall in a second. But this is when women become gang stalkers. Become gang stalkers. This is written by a good psychiatrist, or maybe she's a psychologist, but here it is right here. Psychologist Kathy Meadows. Okay. So she's one of the good ones.
And so sometimes they will use women for the more intimate things, like breaking and entering when you're asleep, breaking into your car, breaking into your home when you're asleep. Especially when there's women and children there. Men, not so much. So women are used in a lot of ways that men are not used, because it can topple the entire business. The business can fall, and believe me, I've seen them use homeless guys who were actually rapists, convicted of rape. And they got out of prison and became homeless. And I don't think they knew what they were doing. They just kind of hire people willy-nilly. They don't do background checks or anything.
So, according to the psychologist, Kathy Meadows, right here, some of these gang stalkers are private investigators. Let's see what we can point out to the fact that they're private investigators. They're not emergency services, emergency management services. They're gang stalking. I'm not saying that the police, the firefighters, in the ambulance, whatever, are not doing gang stalking. They could be. But according to this one, they're private investigators that's doing it. Private investigators. Let's see if we can find it. They're private investigators. And here it is.
The detective agency, I said, I don't know. They work both sides of the fence.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that he said. It's an amazing interview. If you ever can find it online, stalking people, and he said that they recruit these people and they promise them, cars and money, and if you want to sleep with this person, just whatever it takes to get them.
Okay, so he's talking about Brian. They're talking about Brian Coffin, the video that you talked about, saying it's all fake. that you say no, I'm faking the video. Okay, this is 620, this is 611. Let's see if we can find that video.
Legitimate.
See, there it is.
I do.
Brian Confront was in this video. And he was a private, you know who he was. For those people who don't know, or who was featured in this video, is Brian Confront. And he used to work for SIS Security firm. And if you went to the Apple Store in Los Angeles County, that security agency. It's SIS. You see, just go to any Apple Store, you'll see them. He used to work for these people, and he talked about the gang stalking that these people allegedly did. All right, let's see if we can stop. Okay, that's 8 minutes. We stop.
Being beamed into you with this technology versus somebody who really is schizophrenic.
I'm glad you asked that, because I especially being a medical doctor, I don't want to come across.
Also, like I said, if you're armed with information with schizophrenia, especially from another doctor like Dr. John Hall, these people can't falsely accuse you of being schizophrenic. Now listen to this. Listen to what this man says.
Everybody hearing voices is being victimized by technology. Certainly schizophrenia exists. For one, schizophrenia is not quite as common, I think, as the press has led people to believe. It's still, severe schizophrenia is still a relatively rare disorder. Most of the victims that I've worked with can pinpoint the day that they started hearing voices and the day that they noticed organized stalking, people following them around from their home to work. Most of the victims that we've had questionnaires filled out on and talked to are in their late 30s to early 40s. Typically, schizophrenics are identified from 18 years old to 28 years old, maybe a little later in females, but almost always at a young age. Typically, those people are described as never having been quite normal. You don't see it in high-functioning, educated individuals who all of a sudden turned 40 years old and acutely became schizophrenic overnight. Also, if you
I'll play that one more time.
became schizophrenic overnight, also sudden turned 40 years, you don't see it in high-functioning, educated individuals who all of a sudden turned 40 years old and acutely became schizophrenic overnight. Also, if you talk to schizophrenics about what they're hearing, typically it's God or angels or deities or garbled voices like you hear in a subway. The people that are being victimized by this technology are hearing the voices of people that are obviously watching them. Oftentimes they'll know the names of these voices because it's a two-way communication system.
Okay, now side note, when I was being hit with voice-to-skull technology in this freaking kitchen back here, I heard a man with a southern accent, okay? I'm in California. I shouldn't be hearing anybody in my head while I'm alone in this apartment, okay? But I heard it. Then I heard a voice talking to the man with the southern accent. They were able to read my thoughts because I was talking to myself about Kamala Harris. I wasn't talking to myself, I was thinking about Kamala Harris, but they knew about it, and they were responding to me, and they were talking about it to me through voice-to-skull technology about Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, whatever.
So they're hearing the people doing the surveillance talk to each other as well as talk to them. Typically it's their whereabouts in a room is being described, what they're dressed like is being described.
So it's kind of a form of harassment then.
Well, and that's exactly what the loose term for it is, electronic harassment.
So they're not necessarily trying to pretend that they're God. They're just really trying to harass this person and push them over the edge.
Exactly.
Into doing something. Well, that's interesting. So to sum it up, somebody who has real schizophrenia, it's going to be something that is very early in their life, a consistent pattern behavior from very early in their life. Whereas somebody that is that is having this done to them, they're going to have a sudden onset of that.
Exactly.
So they've been perfectly normal, then somehow, and later in life, all of a sudden, like you said, a switch has been flipped.
Exactly. And we've done surveys on thousands of these victims, and most of them are educated. A lot of them are doctors and lawyers, educated people that were high functioning, that were successful in their careers.
Okay. So like I said, if you armed with voice-to-skull technology, it's the United States patent number, especially with that video from another doctor. By the way, he had his own television show talking about gang stalking victims, targeted individuals. These people can't falsely accuse you of being schizophrenic now, can you? Now, can they? No, they can't. So let's go back to your dumb video.
Slander of the target, complete, basically attacks on their character by anonymous perps who are sent in to slander them.
Okay, so let's skip to the video. Let's skip to 7:34 of your video. Let's go a little ahead of that.
Really are legitimate TIs who have been fooled into thinking that this stuff is legitimate, but I mean, realistically, it's absurd. It's absurd. They're not able to read your thoughts.
Okay, how do you know they're not able to read people's thoughts? How do you know that? Even though I have my thoughts read, you have, let's play the video from Dr. John.
Mid to late 80s, 5 separate inmates from the Utah State Prison had written affidavits saying that they were put in solitary confinement and were experimented on with some type of electronic device that put voices in their head, and all of them claimed that they could tell the voices of the people doing the experimentation on them were responding back to their thoughts.
Wow.
So this has been going on for a while.
Okay, let's play one more time, just in case.
Saying that they were put in solitary confinement and were experimented on with some type of electronic device that put voices in their head, and all of them claimed that they could tell the voices of the people doing the experimentation on them were responding back to their thoughts.
Wow.
You say they. How do you know that this technology is not real? How do you know that a certain gang stalker has the ability to put thoughts into your head, to read your thoughts, to read your mind, to put voices into your head? How do you know which one has that ability and which one doesn't? So again, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Perfect. The possibilities of this device were endless.
One of the fun things we used to do was get up on the balcony 5 stories up in our laboratory building and aim the sound down at people walking below. Sometimes we'd beam smashing glass sounds at the caterers walking by with dishes. We'd whisper in people's ears, and it was all great fun.
Now the owner of a small company selling his invention, Dr. Pompey has grown up some and adopted a more serious tone.
So I'm just trying to figure it out. How do you know which gang stalker has the ability to do what? I'm just trying to figure that out. I'm just trying to figure out, because here is the audio spotlight again. Here is Woody Norris.
Or you can whisper in the ear of a supposed terrorist some biblical verse. I'm serious. And they have these infrared devices that can look at their countenance and see a fraction of a degree Kelvin in temperature shift from 100 yards away when they play this thing. And so another way of hopefully determining who's friendly and who isn't. We make a version of this which puts out 155 decibels. Pain is 120. So it allows you to go nearly a mile
You hear that psychopath? He's laughing.
away and communicate with people, and there can be a public beach just off to the side and they don't even know it's turned on. We sell those to the military presently for about $70,000.
So I'm trying to figure out, how do you know which gang stalker has what? And as of right now, I feel this tingling sensation right here. And like I said, I got hit right here. But I'm trying to figure out, how do you know what you know? And why you don't want people to talk about voice-to-skull technology? I'm just trying to figure that out. There's more voice-to-skull technology.
Standard 16, the comparator delivers a signal by wire 17 to the FM-capable pulse generator 12 to shut down the pulse generator 12. This avoids spurious signals being generated. The output of the FM pulse generator 12 is delivered by wire 18 to a microwave generator 19, which delivers its output to the head of a human being 23. In this fashion, the person 23 is radiated with microwaves that are in short bursts. The microwave generator 19 operates at a steady frequency.
So I'm just trying to figure out, I know this is long, but what do you know? I'm just trying to figure it out. Now, here it is. This is a video that talks about, I know it's kind of long, but here, this is not it. Let's see if we can find it.
Spotlighting technology, and quickly the government noticed.
Look,
they signed an agreement to develop this tech for the U.S. Army for quote-unquote non-commercial use. Since 2002, they began developing a means for psychological warfare. It's a commonly held belief that by the time the average individual begins hearing about any new and exciting technology, it's likely that that tech has already been around for at least a decade. The darkest part is that, of course, the use of this tech by governments can easily be justified in cases of civil unrest. Picture this hypothetical scenario in the current U.S. economic and political climate. One morning, you wake up and see a notification about a local protest against a controversial bill. You decide to get a group of your friends and all make your way to the protest location. Soon enough, too far-fetched of a scenario. Not only that, but the effects of this technology are not entirely known. What if the tech causes injury to the nervous system? Have there been cases of any deaths as a result of the use of this technology? Just based on those two questions, on my creepy scale, directional audio spotlighting technology ranks pretty high up there. And sure, there's plenty of good uses for the technology, and it wouldn't be right for me to just provide you with all the negative uses without covering some of the uses that may be beneficial to our current society and culture. For instance, the use of this technology in museums and libraries makes sense. Around August of 2018, the Mob Museum in Las Vegas was using Holosonics audio spotlight tech to give individuals a unique experience as they walk through their crime lab exhibit. Individuals can walk through at their own pace without having to put on and take off headphones to get the history of racketeering and organized crime. With the integration of motion sensors, the spotlighting technology simply sees that a person is standing in front of the exhibit, and the 3D sound immediately starts playing inside their head. Virtually no sound bleeds over from any other nearby speakers, which is pretty cool. So no one else at other close-by exhibits would hear the information, just them. And that has a lot of pros, one of which would be the enhanced individual experience. In a museum setting and countless libraries currently using this technology, it is beyond superb. But in other locations, and undisclosed, is it really helping anyone keep a hold on their sanity? Could this tech be contributing to an increase in mental health issues? And when will we finally be aware that these issues are increasing because of this technology or technology like this? In addition to social media networks using specifically...
See? I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to figure out, how do you know what you know? How do you know that? Let's see if we can continue.
So this type of thing, the TIs who talk about this, you got to recognize this too, and don't be deceived by these people who are putting this rubbish out there too, because they even take like credible sites that have some credible information. Like, for example, Eric Karlstrom has that site, Gang Stalking Mind Control Cults. He gives you a lot of really good information. I've shared some videos from that site. He gives you a lot of good stuff, but then he mixes in stuff like this. And that's what people who are CIA...
Like what? Like what? Say what he did that's so wrong. Say what he did that is a lie. You never said what that thing is. So I think you're a shill. Okay, so I think you're a shill. Just say what the F that Carl, whatever his last name was, say what he said that was wrong. Prove it. Let's see if we can find synthetic telepathy real quick.
The signals are picked up by electrodes planted on the skin.
The electrodes basically look like this. They're tiny little pads, much like you have in a doctor's office. So if she said the future out loud,
The future.
we have the signal that's corresponding to that muscular activity. But with subvocal speech, she doesn't have to move her mouth. She could say that word silently. So she would say the future silently. Here she said the future, but she didn't move her lips. And you can see that there's still the same signal being picked up by the electrodes underneath her throat.
Once the electrodes capture the signal, they can be transmitted, as if through a cell phone, to someone with an earpiece receiver.
So the newer sensors are the size of a dime, and they're going to continue to get smaller in the not very distant future.
Okay, so here's another one. Here's another one.
Sonic process.
Manipulated vocal tract movements were transformed into sounds to generate intelligible, synthesized speech.
Shipbuilding with a mathematic process.
Compare that to the participant's actual speaking voice.
Shipbuilding is a most fascinating process.
Now the synthesized speech again.
Shipbuilding with a mathematic process.
The sound patterns of the individual words synthesized from brain activity are remarkably similar to the original spoken sentences.
Shipbuilding is a most fascinating process.
The model can also decode the acoustic differences between participants' voices. Here's synthesized speech decoded from another study participant.
Addition or subtraction are related stuff.
Okay, so I'm just saying, okay, this is a little bit too long, but I'm just saying, like, how can you know they can't do this shit? This is what I'm trying to figure it out. How do you know? Let's see if we can find, well, this talks about psychoelectronic weapons effects, and this is from Popular Mechanic magazine. They talk about how they can read your thoughts right there. This is released from a FOIA request. There it is. From a fusion, okay. From a fusion center. I want to know, how do you know that they can't do that? How do you know? I'm just asking. How do you know that they can't read your mind? I'm just trying to figure it out. So let's go back to your stupid video. Actually, watch Futurescape with James Woods. Watch Futurescape with James Woods. It's right there. Episode 1, Season 1. I know what you're thinking. Okay? Well, watch it. They're talking about some type of signals. When you think of a word, it makes a signal in your brain, and they try to interpret what those signals are. So yes, this technology does exist. And it may already be used in victims already. This could be a partial disclosure. I'm just trying to ask you, how do you know? I'm just asking, how do you know? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Understand. They don't want people exposing this type of thing in a credible way. So that's why they want people out there talking about V2K and things like this, so then they can bring on one of their experts and immediately discredit everything you have to say and recommend that you be put on some sort of some of their medication, which will literally make you insane.
I agree. If you are not knowledgeable about any freaking thing, yeah. And you talk about the same thing over and over again. EMS. Okay. Let's see what else you have to say about this gang stalking. So that's pretty much it. I'm just trying to figure out what you know, because I watched your videos. You haven't proved that you're a gang stalking victim. Not one thing, basically. You haven't proved that you're a gang stalking victim. I don't think you are. I think you're a perp. All right, have a good day. Now, you see, like I said, I haven't seen anything from your videos stating that you're a real gang stalking victim. I haven't seen anybody harassing you, physically assaulting you. I haven't seen anything of the sort. I'm just saying that at least you're not talking about your psychic ability. At least you're not talking about some damn tarot cards and talking about you being the chosen one. That's clearly a psychological operation. I'm surprised you didn't talk about that. You should have talked about that. You should have been talking about this, like this dude right here doing one-eye symbolism, talking about the chosen one. You chose not to talk about that one. Yeah, you did bring up the fake psychologist and psychiatrist, but if you know about voice-to-skull technology, if you had the former head of the FBI Los Angeles division, Ted Gunderson, and his affidavit, these people can't touch you. They can't touch you. I don't know why you went the way you did in your video, because you seem fake. But at least you didn't go direct when they talking about religious. And at least your makeup, at least you don't wear makeup. If you do wear makeup, there's nothing wrong with that. Hopefully it matches your skin type, unlike this chick right here. And you see that?
Worship you, we give you all that glory.
I'm going to tell you something. In Los Angeles, I've seen this all over the place. Black women with weird shit on their face. I've seen it so many times. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I've seen it. But like I said, you ain't talking about no tarot cards. I'll give you credit on that. I'll give you credit. You ain't talking about like this chick right here talking about you should be happy that you being gang stalked because you do some weird stuff in your life. I don't see no Freemason or whatever this thing is. Whatever that is. I don't know what that is. But I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. At least you ain't doing that. I don't know what that actually means. And I'm not a Mason or whatever. But I've seen that a lot in this gang stalking. Like I said, one eye symbolism, you see it all over the videos. So I'll give you credit for that. You ain't talking about that. Whatever that meaning is, you didn't do it. Like, you ain't talking about spirituality. I'll give you credit for that.
Stalking has been going on since you were little.
Children have been gang stalked. My child was gang stalked. Yeah, when he was 6 years old. But at least you're not talking about no goddamn spirituality. I'll give you credit on that. Alright, peace. And by the way, this is the timestamp right here. Let's talk about my videos, because I can prove that I'm a gang stalking victim. I got videos of the neighbors. I got the videos of people around the neighborhood all gang stalking about me, trying to get me in trouble with the police. I got that on videotape. Got the videotape of people talking about trying to get people kicked out of this building right here. Like I said, I protest gang stalking at the Santa Monica Pier, Santa Monica, California. Those people gang stalking me, doing harassment campaigns against me. I have tons of videos, and I will put it on YouTube and put on all these social media websites to prove that I'm a gang stalking victim. Here it is. I am, let's see if we can go back. See, we got this one right here. That's over 3 hours right there. Over 3 hours. But let's find my videos proving that I'm a gang stalking victim. Let's type in my name one more time. I had to type on 2 different keyboards here. Like I said, this Facebook page is mine, but it's been discontinued. I got banned off of Facebook. I can't log into this account. It's been gone, but YouTube won't get rid of it. See, this is me, my videos. Me talking about a gang stalking victim. This is my BitChute account. This is my BitChute account of what I recorded. I will record more videos, man. This is not my Pinterest file. This is not me. I don't know who this fucker is. You got a whole bunch of people with my name on it. Like I said, that is not me. There's an Instagram. Let's see this Instagram right here. This Instagram, this is not mine. I don't know who the fuck that is. But we'll see if we can find the videos. Me. This is me. Me. Mark Dornham. My old Twitter page. This video channel is mine. And this is LAPD. I didn't pay LAPD to do this.
My name is Talan Godfrey. This is
That's right. That's right. Real Talan Godfrey. And these people are not me right here at the bottom. But like I said, I got videos to prove that I'm a gang stalking victim. I don't know. I don't think you're a real gang stalking victim. I don't see no real harassment videos of you. Real street theater videos harassing you. I don't see it. See this dude right here? I didn't pay this dude, but there it is.
RNA COVID-19 vaccines may progressively generate your brain from prion disease. There's actually another study, microbiology infectious
Tell your
diseases.
black friend I said hello.
Major new scientific study on the Journal of Nature.
That's okay.
You see? That's harassment. And there this is the same loser ass piece of shit dude. Same one or another clone of his. They have people who look like each other doing the gang stalking.
Oh yeah, hi. Why don't I take this right out of your hand?
Okay, I don't see any videos of these people coming and harassing you. I don't see it. I'm not saying that you don't have videos like that. I'm just saying that I haven't seen yours. Let me go back to your channel. Go back to your channel. And the words, let's see now. This is your channel. All I can see is some dude harassing a police officer right in front of you. That's all I see. And I see that every day.
And here's the dancing nurses there.
I see that every day.
Dancing nurses also skit there with that actor they had. Pretty clear. And it's pretty clear again. You know, they've got this guy set up to fake the whole thing. Some weird fake guy. And then they have him look in with glasses on. See what's going on here? Totally staged.
That could be a harassment skit, but I haven't seen anything really. That could be one. It could be not. I don't think you're a real gang stalking victim. I haven't seen stuff. I haven't seen anybody come and harass you and try to physically assault you. I haven't seen it. I don't know how they work it over in Canada, but in the United States, I got the videos to prove that I've been harassed. So, peace. Okay, so here it is. You should talk to psychiatrists and psychologists about gang stalking, especially about voice-to-skull technology, especially if you have the United States patent numbers to go with it, and other types of mind control technologies and direct energy weapons. If you got other doctors, lawyers, engineers, whistleblowers, activists, anybody with a credible reputation talking about these types of technologies and gang stalking, yes, you should bring it up. It doesn't matter if you believe the psychiatrist or the psychologist is a gang stalking perp, bring it up anyway, because enough of it, enough complaints, guess what? They will have to talk about it. And this dude got his ass beat in the comment section. I think they got rid of it, but this is, of course, this is Psychology Today. And read the article and read it. He called it the paranoid realities of targeted individuals. He gonna talk about how voice-to-skull technology is real, but eventually he brings up the types of technology that actually states that voice-to-skull technology, microwave hearing, is real. So he had to bring it up. He had to bring it up. So you are slowly moving the goalposts into reality of what we are gang stalking victims, what we actually suffer on a daily basis. Now, granted, I haven't been a victim of voice-to-skull technology in the wild, because when they hit me with voice-to-skull technology, and yes, they do have the ability to read your mind, to read your thoughts, and they can implant fake thoughts into your mind. That's not me. That's noise violation. They do it all the time. I started cussing these people out. And just like Dr. John Hull was talking about in remote neuromonitoring, in the video remote neuromonitoring, synthetic telepathy, artificial telepathy, they have a copy of your EEG. And I was messing my EEG up with sound. They knew I was blocking my brainwaves, that they didn't know what I was blocking my brainwaves with, or I would say messing up my brainwaves. Not physically, but their recording of my brainwaves, I was messing it up. Blah, blah, blah. Just read the rest of this article. They do talk about microwave hearing. Try to discount these studies, because these studies are pieces of shit. It's garbage. That's what it's calling it. Here it is, hallucinatory auditory hallucination, voice hearing, blah 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 blah. But he does talk about the technology later on in this article, or at least if they haven't changed it. Okay. Now, in this article, they talked about some of the victims who are now dead. They talked about microwave hearing, and they made videos about it. So therefore, these people had to talk about it. It's moving the goalposts forward. That's all I'm saying. Talk about voice-to-skull technology. All right. Bring up Dr. John Hall. No gang stalker perp, who is a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a cop, a firefighter, EMT, whoever you dealing with. You bring up Dr. John Hall with that interview with David Knight, he was an engineer. It shuts down the conversation, and it shut down the conversation in your court. Okay, do some more studying. All right, peace.